Not too long ago, Jordan Underneath talked about his depression game. A game not that made him sad, but that helped him internalize those feelings of sadness, helped him meditate. This really got the gears in my head turning about what my depression game was. I was content at first to simply reminisce about it, but my various neuroses wouldn't allow me to rest until I spoke to you guys about the game. My depression game, the game that helps me deal with my problems, or at least it did at one point in my life, is Galerians for the PS1. The game was released in the wake of Resident Evil, and being a survival horror, I think it really just sought to be a survival horror game without guns. It's very cyberpunk, with what little music it has being industrial techno, accenting these heavy themes of transhumanism running throughout the whole story. In this story, you take up the role of Rion, a young man who finds himself in a laboratory and suddenly exhibiting strange mental abilities. The thing I noticed first in the game is its lack of music. But not its lack of noise. The game is filled with ambient sounds, computer beeps, the quiet humming of medical equipment. It's nice. The game will try to follow the action curve, starting us in the middle of anything. We start out about as confused as Rion is. As we play a bit more, we explore the facility, interacting with objects, having psychic visions that serve as clues to solve puzzles, and using our newfound powers to fight back against those that would harm us. We learn that we were granted this power from drugs they call PPEDs, psychic power enhancing drugs. And this is the first part of why this game speaks to me. Now guys, I don't know what your growing up situation was, but mine was drugs. My dad left my family and got hooked on drugs. My mom raised me while she was hooked on drugs. And on the lonely nights when I was alone while my parents were out doing drugs, I had this game. What's more is that I grew up with ADHD and mild depression, which I took drugs for. Because of this, drugs have a very derisive effect on my life. They were the things that ruined my life and continued to harm my parents. But they were also the things that were supposed to help me, save me from the static in my brain. I never liked drugs. I still don't like drugs, but I guess I saw and see them as a necessary evil, yeah? If my mother was off the drugs too long, she got violent and self-destructive, more so than usual. What's interesting about Galerians, though, is that is almost a direct mechanic in the game. You see, Rion isn't a superhuman in complete control. He's an individual barely containing powers that are far greater than him. Powers just as likely to destroy him as they are to save him. There's a mechanic in the game where if you don't take drugs, your powers run wild. Rion holds his head and slows to a walk. Power shakes forth from him, and any regular human that gets near him has their head explode. Your HP drops rapidly, and you're never sure if the unfettered power is aiding you in this situation or about to destroy you. If that wasn't enough, you have to take a drug to get the effect to stop. It's a really neat mechanic as metaphor kind of thing. But it's more than just that one mechanic. If you think about it, Rion is literally addicted to drugs. His powers, which essentially serve as the various weapons for different situations in the game, all come from drugs. Rion is trying to solve his problem with these drugs by taking more drugs to get to the bottom of all these drugs. And that speaks to me, I guess. That's what it was to be in my situation. Using drugs to help your situation that was created by drugs. And just like the game, it's not filled with beautiful or ambient music. It's quiet, and it sneaks into your life, destroying you from within. My favorite part of the whole game, though, is this place called the Babylon Hotel. It's this crummy, beat-up hotel you go looking for a specific girl in. The level isn't especially hard or scary. What I love about it, though, are the people you meet living in this dilapidated hotel. There's a man clearly building a bomb, insisting that he's going to change the world.
I'm very busy right now. I'm gonna change the world, you know.
There's this strangely robotic doorman.
Welcome to the Babylon Hotel. A room for one?
Is there a girl by the name of Lilia staying here?
Lilia? There's no one by that name staying here. Your room is number 302.
This hesitant and terrified prostitute.
I don't know anymore. I just don't know.
A man that mistakes you for a prostitute.
What are you doing here?
I'm looking for someone.
And you are?
Rian Steiner.
Well, you look okay, I guess. I have to contact someone first.
A low-life criminal that seems up to no good and...
Hey, you can't just waltz in here. You got a death wish or something?
Hey, wait a minute. Could you help me? I'm looking for someone.
You want my advice? Get out of here if you know what's good for you, kid.
Wait!
Ugh.
My favorite, this purple-clad preacher guy that says he'll pray for you if you just offer him any type of donation.
Welcome to my parish. I shall pray for your soul. Oh, but first, a donation. A small donation. Anything will be fine. You do have money about you?
If you keep entering his room, in fact, he'll literally pick you up and shake you down for money.
Oh, you have returned with my donation. I shall pray for your soul. Do you keep the money in your pockets? Please, the donation. I need the donation. Where is the money?
If you've ever been around drug users, you know all these people. All doing what it takes to get them just a little more. Or people that have had too much and are terrified of what more will do to them. Or in my case, the drug-addled individual that tried to tell you about heaven and the afterlife. The hotel is where the game confronts you with your drug addiction, though. Even going so far as to have you buy drugs from a crummy backroom dealer.
You're new around here, huh? You're so young. Yet you're hooked, ain't you?
The game had such an Acura feel to it, but darker, grimier. It had such interesting characters, all going through a common set of struggles, but handling them very differently. I found it so familiar. It made me sad to play it. It was a peel of my own humanity that I had to pull back to beat the game. But at the same time, the game felt like home, and playing it became almost meditative. It would let me think about where my life was, about where my life could end up, and sometimes it would let me think of just nothing at all. Now, the game's certainly not perfect. For instance, I absolutely hate Rian's style choices. He's every worst part of original characters and Hot Topic put together. The controls are a bit of a pain, and the combat system is significantly more difficult than necessary. The load times are also not very good, and are sometimes rapid fire right next to each other. Shockingly, though, I think the voice acting is actually held up okay. I mean, it's not great, but there's some very memorable lines delivered quite well.
You killed Birdman, didn't you? I am Reinhardt. Now it's your turn to die!
I also think the choice to have so little music aided this game a lot in the atmosphere. This was a game that needed to be quiet and contemplative, perhaps sometimes oppressively quiet, where the only person making noise was you, like you were being subject to your own footsteps, robbing you of silence and peace. Anyway, what's your depression game, guys? What do you play to help meditate? Let me know. And until next time, cheers.